Hi everyone, today in this session we are going to discuss about a concept called MPLAD scheme, that is Member of Parliament Local Area Development Scheme. And see, here in this session we will be analyzing the scheme only from exam perspective. What is required for us in the UPSC examinations. Okay, so that concept only is those points which are relevant for exam we will be discussing here. The scheme is MPLAD scheme. Okay, so first of all, this MPLAD scheme means, that is Member of Parliament Local Area Development Scheme. This means an MP, that is Lok Sabha MP as well as Rajya Sabha MP, can recommend development works in their area. That is, Lok Sabha MP can recommend a development work of the tune of rupees 5 crore per annum in his or her constituency. Similarly, an elected Rajya Sabha member can recommend work for the tune of rupees 5 crore from the state in which he was elected. And also nominated members can recommend development works in any part of the country. That is rupees 5 crore per annum. That is development works like drinking water example, or primary education, public health, sanitation, hygiene, roads, likewise any kind of community asset, that is durable community assets can be created by using these funds. For a single MP, 5 crore can be spent. And recently, because of this COVID issues, the MPLAD scheme was temporarily suspended. So that's the relevance of MPLAD scheme for us from this year for exam perspective. So this is what the core objective of MPLAD scheme, and it was suspended because of COVID issues. Okay, that is rupees 5 crore can be used for developing community assets. And see, some of the features of this program are about 15% of those funds must be utilized in areas inhabited by scheduled caste population, and similarly 7.5% of funds must be utilized in the areas inhabited by ST population. But see, in case if a constituency does not have SC population or ST population, then that much amount must be spent in other part of the state. Not necessarily in the concerned constituency itself if there is no SC population, but in other parts of the state, that fund must be utilized only for a concerned category of people. That is 15% for SC population, and 7.5% of funds for ST population. That you must note down carefully. Fine. And MPs recommend these kind of development works to the district authority, and the district authority who implement all those works. And this program is coordinated by the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. So these things are important for you from prelims perspective. Fine. And now when we analyze the scheme from mains perspective, you must know what are the merits or what are the necessities or significance or need of the scheme. And also a scheme might have some kind of criticism also, that you must note down from mains perspective. Okay, so regarding the scheme, now we are analyzing the merits of the scheme. So now what will happen if an MP can recommend development works in his or her constituency or in a state? What can happen? Decentralized level funding is happening here. That is, MP can meet the development assets in his constituency because he knows what is needed for his or her constituency. So rather than a top level approach, here each individual MP can recommend works in his or her constituency. So local level funding, because he knows the ground reality, what is need of that concerned area. Fine. And one more thing is, here elected representatives are directly involving in development of works. Fine. So these are some of the merits you must know regarding the MPLAD scheme. Fine. See, there can be some criticism also. So you must note down the demerits of this concerned scheme as well from mains perspective. The main thing is, it is against the principle of separation of powers. Why? Because what is the role of a legislature? To make laws. The role of the legislature or an MP is to make laws. But see here what is happening? He or she is involved in implementation stage for execution, because he is actively participating in the development of works. See, that is the role of executive. But here a legislature is also involving in the works of executive, that is implementation of program. So this is against the spirit of separation of powers. See, this political theory, see, when you come across a question, that's a mains question, if you can quote these kind of political theories, that is separation of powers or checks and balances, like any kind of political theories if you can quote, then that may add weightage to your answer. So use these kind of terms or these theories in your polity answer. Fine. And then there are a lot amount of unspent amount. See, all MPs are not completely utilizing this 5 crore amount. We can quote an example that 14th Lok Sabha rupees 170 crore rupees were not spent. This unspent amount. Similarly for 15 Lok Sabha or other Lok Sabhas also, unspent amounts are there. Why? Because MPs are not properly utilizing. Even though they get a chance to implement or to recommend development works, they are not properly utilizing. So this is also one of the drawback of this MPLAD scheme. Fine. Then is utilization of these funds for electoral win. Simply we can say during election year, MPs may recommend some kind of important development works in their constituency. Why? To gather the image among the public, and they may get a chance to win in the coming election also. See, this chance is not available for the opposition candidate. Fine, because why? Only current MPs can recommend these kind of works. So they may get an advantage for an electoral gain. Okay, so this is what we call as patronage politics. So use these kind of terms in your answers as well. Fine. Next, corruption. Many times CAG reported that in the implementation of MPLAD scheme, corruption is happening. That is, funds are being diverted for other purposes. That is happening in your country in common. And one more important point you must note is the implementation gap. That means, see, MPs recommend these works to the district authorities. So there is a gap between what is recommended for implementation and what is happening, what is actually implemented. There is a gap. Sometimes MPs recommend some works, and what happens means the authorities implement some kind of related works. So there exists a gap. So this is one more issue, we must address it. So these are the things you must note down regarding MPLAD scheme for exam perspective. See, we must not go much into detail, but when a mains question is there, you must know what is an MPLAD scheme. You must know one of the merits or positives or advantages of the scheme. You must also note down some of the disadvantages. See, here when you write an answer, write a definition, core features, see data are there. Similarly, when you write points, quote data. Here data is there. Quote some examples in your answer, or quote some of the articles regarding, that is, constitutional provisions regarding those things, and advantages, disadvantages. And if you can suggest what can we do to improve further, your personal opinion also you can quote, and you can wind up your answer. Okay, so that's all for the day. Thank you for watching.